Strength will be given unto thee. Judges 16 verse 4. But how did one man become known as a legend of incredible power? Samson was born into a world of religious conflict. His life was marked by both extraordinary feats and crushing losses. The story of Samson is a tale of temptation, betrayal, and the consequences of choices made under immense pressure. Samson's life was defined by his unique vow of consecration to God. From birth, he was set apart as a Nazirite, dedicated entirely to the service of Yahweh. This meant abstaining from certain foods and drinks, avoiding contact with dead bodies, and letting his hair grow long, symbols of his complete devotion. Numbers 6 verses 2 to 8. Imagine growing up knowing you were chosen for something extraordinary, different from everyone else. Samson's vow wasn't just a set of rules. It was a way of life, a commitment that shaped every aspect of who he was. His strength, legendary and unmatched, was directly tied to his Nazirite status. It was a tangible manifestation of God's power working through him. Yet, Samson often struggled with the weight of this extraordinary calling. He battled with temptations and made choices that brought great sorrow and suffering, ultimately leading to his downfall. The story of Samson is a complex tapestry woven with threads of divine purpose, human frailty, and tragic consequences. He reminds us that even those set apart for greatness can stumble, and that the path of faithfulness is often fraught with challenges. Despite his flaws, Samson's life serves as a powerful testament to God's grace and unwavering love. Even in his failures, there are glimpses of redemption and the enduring hope found in surrendering to God's will. His story ultimately reminds us that true strength lies not just in physical prowess but in spiritual integrity and obedience. From his earliest days, Samson was marked as extraordinary. Even before he was born, an angel appeared to his mother Manoah, delivering a divine message. This child would be a Nazirite, consecrated to God from birth. This wasn't just some ordinary calling. It was a commitment of complete devotion. Samson's life was governed by strict rules and rituals, setting him apart from everyone else. He couldn't touch dead bodies, he had to abstain from certain foods and drinks, all symbols of his unique purpose. But the most striking aspect of his Nazirite vow was its connection to his extraordinary physical power. It seemed as though God's blessing flowed directly into Samson, making him incredibly strong. He wasn't just strong, he was superhuman. Imagine a man capable of ripping apart a lion with his bare hands, or bending the iron bars of a prison gate like twigs. These weren't mere tales. They were concrete demonstrations of Samson's incredible strength, fueled by his unwavering dedication to God. It's easy to see how this immense power would shape him. Samson became a symbol of courage and might, a force to be reckoned with. But within that strength lay a profound vulnerability. His power was directly tied to his vow, and any deviation from his sacred path could lead to devastating consequences. Samson's story wasn't solely about brute strength. It was a tapestry woven with moments of both profound devotion and devastating betrayal. He met Delilah, a woman who captivated him with her beauty and charm. She quickly wormed her way into his heart, whispering sweet nothings and making him feel seen in a way he hadn't before. But Delilah harbored a secret ambition. She coveted the vast riches promised by Samson's enemies if she could reveal the source of his superhuman power. Over time, she relentlessly pressed him, pleading with him to confide in her. He, blinded by love and trust, initially resisted. He knew his vow was sacred, that his strength came from God and couldn't be revealed through any earthly means. Yet, Delilah's persistent questioning chipped away at his resolve, playing on his emotions until he finally relented. Samson, in a moment of weakness, shared the secret behind his power. "From my birth," he declared, Judges 16 verse 17, "I had been consecrated to God. If my hair is cut off, my strength will leave me." Delilah, driven by greed and ambition, betrayed Samson's trust. While he slept, she summoned the Philistine lords who had offered her a fortune for his secret. With sharp shears, she snipped away at his long locks, the very essence of his divine power. As soon as the last hair fell to the ground, Samson felt a sickening emptiness course through him. His legendary strength vanished, leaving him vulnerable and powerless in the hands of his enemies. Delilah was a master manipulator, weaving a web of deceit around Samson. She wasn't just after his secrets. She craved power and wealth, seduced by the Philistines' promises of riches if she could expose Samson's vulnerability. He, blinded by love and trust, initially resisted her relentless questioning. He knew his vow was sacred, that his strength came from God and couldn't be revealed through any earthly means. But Delilah, patient and cunning, chipped away at his resolve with whispers of doubt and persistent pleas. She played on his emotions, making him feel like she was the only one who truly understood him. His trust in her grew, a dangerous illusion that blinded him to the truth. It wasn't until he felt utterly consumed by their love, surrendering completely to her charms, that Samson finally revealed his secret. "From my birth," he declared, Judges 16 verse 17, "I have been consecrated to God. If my hair is cut off, my strength will leave me." Delilah's heart, cold and calculating, saw this as a golden opportunity. While he slept, she summoned the Philistine lords who had promised her riches in exchange for Samson's secret. With sharp shears, she betrayed him, snipping away at his long locks, the very essence of his divine power. Samson awoke to find himself vulnerable and powerless. His strength, once a symbol of his covenant with God, vanished like smoke. Delilah had not only stolen his secret, she had stripped him of his identity, leaving him broken and exposed. His fall from grace was complete. He was no longer the mighty warrior who defended his people. He was a prisoner in the hands of his enemies. The Philistines, ever hungry for power and conquest, seized their opportunity. Samson, stripped of his strength, was a mere shadow of his former self. Easily captured and brought before them, they mocked him, reviling his past victories and reveling in his current helplessness. They thrust him into the deepest dungeons, where darkness reigned and hope withered. His once towering frame, now slumped with despair, echoed through the cold stone chambers. There he languished, a captive of their cruelty, forced to grind grain for his tormentors day after day. Judges 16 verses 21 to 23. The irony was unbearable. The man who had once brought down their armies with bare hands now served them in the most menial of tasks. His strength, God-given and formidable, lay shattered like a broken vessel at their feet. Every fiber of his being yearned for freedom, but he was utterly powerless to escape their grasp. He had become a symbol of their victory, a trophy on display for all to see, a testament to the capricious nature of fate and the folly of pride. The Philistines had a grand plan to humiliate Samson publicly and flaunt their victory over him. They dragged him before a cheering throng of people, forcing him to perform degrading acts as a spectacle of their power. Imagine, the once mighty warrior, who could shatter pillars with his bare hands, now forced to wear chains and walk in the streets, a prisoner on display. His hair, the source of his strength, had been shorn away, leaving him vulnerable and exposed. His eyes, once filled with fire, were now dimmed with shame. The Philistines reveled in his misery, taunting him and mocking his former glory. They paraded him around their city like a trophy, rubbing salt into the wounds of his defeat. Samson's captors made him dance for their amusement, a cruel mockery of his past prowess. The laughter and jeers of the crowd echoed through the streets, piercing the very core of his being. Each taunt felt like a blow to his spirit, shattering any remaining embers of hope within him. Even in his darkest hour, a flicker of defiance still burned within Samson. The Philistines, thinking they held him completely under their thumb, were blind to the power that remained, a power born not from physical strength but from something far deeper, a commitment to faith and justice. He felt a shift within himself, a call to act, a final desperate gamble. He knew this would be his last stand, his ultimate sacrifice. With newfound resolve, he pushed past the shackles binding him, finding an unexpected wellspring of strength. The very pillars that held up their temple, symbols of their arrogant triumph, became his instrument of vengeance. He reached out with trembling hands, pushing with all his might, channeling every ounce of remaining power into a final act of defiance. He brought down the temple upon himself and his tormentors, seeking not personal glory but righteous retribution. The earth trembled as the mighty stones crashed down, burying the Philistines in their own hubris. Samson's story isn't merely about physical strength or miraculous feats. It's a testament to unwavering faith and the power of choosing courage even in the face of insurmountable odds. And though he fell, His final act echoed through time, reminding us that even the most broken can rise again, finding redemption in sacrifice. Samson's death was a turning point, a dramatic end to a life marked by both extraordinary power and profound human failings. Though he met his end in tragedy, it wasn't an ending devoid of meaning. His final act, fueled by righteous anger and a desperate hope for justice, became a symbol of defiance against tyranny. It served as a stark reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, courage can triumph. His legacy is complex, woven from threads of strength and weakness. He was a man driven by passion, both for love and for revenge, which ultimately led to his downfall. But within his story lies a profound lesson about faith, forgiveness, and redemption. His life serves as a reminder that we all have the capacity for both greatness and destruction, and that our choices have lasting consequences. Samson's story reminds us that true strength isn't merely physical prowess, but also the resilience of the human spirit. He is an enduring testament to the power of unwavering faith, even when faced with unimaginable challenges. Though he stumbled along the way, his final act was one of selfless sacrifice, a testament to his inherent goodness and a source of inspiration for generations to come. For in him we live and move and have our being. As some of your own poets have said, we are also his offspring. Acts 17 verses 28.